Greetings, Ms. Mukutabang Esther. My group and I will be presenting to you the Woolworths CSR Project. I will gladly start with explaining what corporate social responsibility is. The phrase corporate social responsibility refers to corporate practices and policies that aim to have a good impact on the world. It takes into account an organization's benefits and drawbacks in terms of the community it serves, the economy, and the environment. Secondly, I will come to address the importance of corporate social responsibility. The first importance is it assists in cost cutting because corporate social responsibility also aims to protect the environment. Employing less packaging material will help save money on packaging while also minimizing the risk of pollution in the environment. Corporate social responsibility can also assist the firm in taking steps to reduce carbon emissions in the atmosphere by directing them to less dangerous gases. The second importance is an edge over the competition. You will distinguish out from your industry's competitors if you embrace corporate social responsibility. You position yourself as a company that is committed to going above and beyond by taking social and environmental considerations into account. The third importance is it enhances customer retention. An organization's social media channels may gain more confidence as a result of adopting sustainable systems, and more stories about their efforts to improve the community may be created in the environment and the economy. The more customers and other stakeholders realize that their investments, outputs, and efforts are being used for a broader social good. The last importance is there becomes more benefits for your employees. When you embrace your corporate social responsibility, your employees will reap a variety of rewards. Your office will be a more cheerful and productive environment, and you will support personal and professional growth by encouraging things like volunteering. Getting back to introducing you to our CSR chosen project. We chose a CSR project which was done by Woolworths. Woolworths committed over 34 million rands towards COVID-19 support. The money allocated included employee health and safety where reusable fabric masks worth 1.2 million were produced and distributed to employees. Woolworths also made a donation of 50,000 rands to Gift of Givers for PPE healthcare workers. R1 million worth of masks were donated to the communities, and t-shirts and caps were donated for community volunteers who were working on the front line. Woolworths also made a contribution of 2 million rands to improve food security during the trying times of COVID-19 pandemics. They also partnered with another company to deliver 160 meals per day to the most needy communities. Woolworths also partnered with NECT to support some initiatives and improve access to educational resources for students without internet connection so that they could cope with homeschooling during lockdown.
Hi, I am Londega and I will be explaining the stakeholders engagement. Stakeholders engagement is a process whereby an organization works with all the stakeholders, involving them in decisions that it takes. The aim of corporate stakeholders engagement is to build relationships with stakeholders to understand their positions and duties on key issues. Stakeholders engagement perspectives is a dialogue. Engagement covers dialogue that allows an organizations and stakeholders to work together and make decisions which create social capital. Dialogue is an ethical communication process oriented to other people where the focus is on mitigating power relationships, valuing individual dignity and self-worth, and involving the communicative parties in conversation and decision making. Stakeholders engagement as a control. It is a practical approach whereby stakeholders are discovered and involved in organizational activities to help the organization to accomplish specific objectives. Stakeholders engagement associated with ethics. This approach is about values, individual dignity, and aims to involve stakeholders in decision making associated with organizational behavior and psychology. Engagement is an emotional connection, cognitive, and behavioral state where stakeholders and organizations that share mutual interest in important topics and interact. Stakeholder specific engagement applications. Prominent stakeholders specific of stakeholder engagement evidence in PR, strategic communication, and business communication literature include community engagement, Chief Executive Officer CEO engagement, employee engagement, and corporate social responsibility CSR and engagement. Community engagement is applied to build social capital, improve communities, and promote democracy. Chief Executive Officer engagement focuses on humanizing the organization by engaging with general public on social media to build a more personal, approachable image for the organization. Employee engagement focuses on how the organization engages with its employees to enable and empower the employees to develop a more motivated workplace.
The three pillars of stakeholder engagement include transparency, engagement spaces, and dialogue. The transparency encourages consumers to trust the firm or organization, and it enhances the positive effect of the CSR project. An organization should share information that is clear and easily understood by the stakeholders. They should not have any hidden agendas. Everything concerning them CSR project that they're doing should be shared with the stakeholders. This will make the organization appear trustworthy and reliable. Transparency is important because it is easier for stakeholders to support a CSR project that they know everything about. Transparency fosters good relationships and it creates good publicity and increases the likelihood that stakeholders will stick around and support that organization. So this means that the project will be well received and get support from stakeholders. Transparency keeps clients and stakeholders up to date with what is happening with the project. The role of the engagement spaces is to create a platform where stakeholders and the organization can communicate and engage with the progress of the project. Engagement spaces will create a platform that invites stakeholders to influence the implementation of the CSR project. And it is a platform where stakeholders can give feedback and it is a suitable space for the CSR to unfold. These are the spaces where an organization will form a connection with stakeholders so that they do a CSR project that connects to people, which will make the project successful because people are most likely to engage with something that they can relate to. The engagement spaces can be either an office or online social media spaces. The role of the dialogue is to allow stakeholders to express their opinions and concerns about what is working with the project and what is not. An open dialogue can cultivate a relationship with stakeholders, and the organization can prove that they are able to listen by making some adjustments to their CSR project based on the opinions of the stakeholders. The dialogue allows for a two-way communication between the organization and its stakeholders. The role of the dialogue is to hear the concerns and comments that stakeholders have about the CSR project being implemented.
In terms of transparency, the CSR project does apply this pillar successfully. Reason being that the organization discloses every intention they have with the CSR project to the stakeholders. They provide information to stakeholders so that they can get proper insight on what is relevant to them. Transparency in a CSR project compels us to ask important questions about the project, such as, is the organization honest about the amount of impact they have on communities and that it is positive? In my view, the organization effectively uses transparency because not only do they share the information with the stakeholders, but with the community as well. With them engaging with the community is already good PR for the organization, meaning that it does apply the transparency pillar successfully. The role of engagement, as stated previously, is to see how the campaign is going and to interact with the progress of the project. In order for this pillar to be used successfully for good PR, the organization invites all the stakeholders in order to monitor how the CSR project is progressing, as well as consider putting in some effort, as well as give feedback about the project. This pillar is used effectively and successfully as the project and the organization makes sure that the people's feedback is also.
The recommendations for the future to the organization is that the organization become more transparent for the good of the organization, which is getting feedback and engaging with different types of stakeholders. They should use engagement spaces for the interaction and use dialogue frequently to allow the opinions of stakeholders as this will develop to a certain level of trust in the organization.